So my situation was that my husband and I had been separated for about a year. I'd been hoping that we could get back together again, but he made that very clear at the end of the year that that wasn't what he wanted. So we were going to split up, and we needed to split up our assets. So I took legal advice, and I kind of discovered two things. One, that in order to split up our assets and make whatever decision we came to lasting, I would need to divorce. And two, that it was going to cost a lot of money if I did it through the solicitor that I'd taken advice from. So first, my husband and I tried to come to some arrangement, and were able to come to a financial arrangement, which means that we could do a DIY divorce, a no-fault divorce. And then I started looking at the online document that I'd need to fill in, and quite frankly, I was by this point I was completely broken, and the thought of filling in a form like that and maybe getting it wrong and making mistakes was just beyond me. And I just felt like I really needed somebody on my side. So I started looking into agencies that help you with divorce, and I called a few, and the good thing about them is that they give you a definite amount that you're going to spend, and they outline for you what they're going to do. Easy Online Divorce was one of the ones that I called, and the difference between talking to James, who I was put through to, and some of the other places where they did a call back and you got an appointment with them to talk through what your needs were. James was just so personable and made me feel like he actually was interested in my situation. And it wasn't a hard sell. It wasn't a, okay, this is what we're going to do for you. He wanted to ascertain that my situation was indeed something that they could help with, that we'd my husband and I had come to a financial agreement, because obviously if there was any kind of debate on that, then there was mediation that needed to happen. So once he'd ascertained that, so there wasn't any kind of hard sell, and I really felt like he was listening to me. Then he explained what Easy Online Divorce services would be, what they'd cost, and what I'd need to do. And I was scribbling all this down, but you can imagine, you look at your writing the next day and you can't make head or tail of it. So I was really relieved when James said, well, look, he'll put everything in an email and he'll send it to me, which meant that I had everything, I could think through everything and check out their website a bit more. And that was when I saw that he'd written a load of blogs, which were so really helpful about answering where I was, questions I had. So I really felt like I was getting a full package, and that's what made me choose them. And I started to feel a little more like there was a way through this. So after that initial phone call with James, I decided to go with Easy Online Divorce. I have to say that my experience has been really, really positive. It's like having a team looking after you. So I've not felt quite so alone in what could be a really lonely process. So the first thing that happened was that once I'd agreed to go with them and signed and organised that, they sent me a form to fill in, which would form the basis of my application form to the court for divorce. And it was a lot simpler than the online form. Of course, it's asking things that are emotionally triggering, like what was the date of your marriage? When did you finally decide to move out? When did you finally decide to separate and divorce? Which was really emotional, filling those things in. But because it was a really simple form, I felt like I could get through it in my own time and deal with my own emotion. Having done that and sent it back, they then checked it. They'd sent a similar form to my husband, so I didn't have to deal with that. They said they would contact him for me. So when our forms came back, they put it onto one form, and we're able to check that to make sure that everything's accurate and how we want it to be. So there is that feeling all the time that you could check your answers before you go public on them, which meant that I didn't feel like there was any danger of giving the wrong answer to the court. So that was done, and then I received a response from the court saying that the application had been accepted and that there was a 20-week cooling off period. And Easy Online confirmed that and gave me an outline of the dates, how things would work, so I knew what was happening next. 20 weeks is 5 months. That's a long time. And knowing that I didn't have to worry about what to do next meant that I could actually really start rebuilding my life as me and not part of a couple, or not waiting to see whether my husband would come back. I was now moving forward, which was enormously liberating, because I'd been, for the best part of 2 years, worrying about what to do next, and should I be doing this, should I be doing that, should I be trying harder. So this was wonderful. This was a liberation, and allowed me time for healing. What was even better was about halfway through that 20-week time, I got a nudging email from Chloe at the Easy Online office saying, okay, if you want to do a consent order, which is the one where you split your financial assets, then now's the time to talk about it. Do you want to have a phone call with one of our advisors? And I said, yes, I do. So I made an appointment and talked to Lucy, who was brilliantly upbeat, really, really practical, listened to my questions, allayed any concerns I had, and said, okay, what we'll do is we'll send you the form and you fill it in. And once again, she sent me a form, she sent my husband a form, so we filled them in separately. And that is just an enormously reassuring thing, really, that you haven't got somebody looking over your shoulder. You can just get on and fill in your information. Once again, I was given that to check, and then finally they amalgamated it onto the D81, which is the big official consent order form. Am I ever glad I didn't have to fill in that myself, because that would have been awful. It actually has to be presented by a solicitor anyway, but again, with Easy Online, you know how much that's going to cost, and you're not worried about every time your solicitor picks up a phone to ring you that there's another fee going on top of that. So that's enormously helpful too. There were a couple of questions I had, and they were dealt with compassion, even humour at one point. So again, I felt that sensation that I had a team behind me, which was really, really great. So what do I wish I'd known at the start that I know now? I think really it's the 8 months is a really, really long time. I'm still not at the end of it. I'm nearly there. It's 7 months. I don't know whether anyone can tell you that actually, but it is a hugely long time. But knowing through that I haven't had to be sort of diarising, oh, I need to do this, I need to ring my solicitor to do that, I need to check on that Easy Online has it in hand, and I will be prompted when I need to do the next thing. It's just, yeah, it's all part of that, feeling part of a team and feeling cared for.